When Evelyn Moore received the letter, she thought it was a mistake. A great-aunt she had never heard of, Lillian Ainsworth, had passed away and left her a vast, old mansion in the English countryside. Confused but curious, Evelyn contacted the estate lawyer, who confirmed it. "You are the only living relative," he said, "but there is one condition. You must spend one full night in what Miss Ainsworth called the mirror room." The name alone gave Evelyn chills, but her curiosity outweighed her hesitation. She arrived at the mansion on a cloudy afternoon. It stood like a monument to forgotten time, stone walls covered in ivy, windows fogged with age. Inside, it was even more mysterious. Velvet drapes, dusty furniture, and portraits of stern-faced ancestors lined the hallways. But the strangest part was on the third floor, a large door sealed with chains and an old brass plaque that read, "Do not enter the mirror room." An old butler named Howard met her at the entrance and seemed reluctant to speak of the room. Miss Lillian was obsessed with it, he said. She believed mirrors could trap things, emotions, memories, perhaps even people. At midnight, Evelyn unlocked the door with the key provided in the will. The hinges groaned as the door opened, and she stepped into a room unlike anything she had ever seen. Every surface was, ceiling, and even the floor was covered in mirrors. There were hundreds of them, cracked, fogged, perfectly polished, or old and dull. In the center of the room stood a single antique chair, facing a tall, oval-shaped mirror framed in gold. Evelyn sat down, staring into the mirror. At first, she saw only herself. Then, something changed. Her reflection smiled, but she hadn't. It tilted its head just a second too early. She turned her face, but the mirrored version didn't copy her at least, not exactly. Then came the whispering. At first it was faint, soft as wind, but then she heard words. "You shouldn't be here." The air grew colder, and when Evelyn looked around, she noticed the reflections in the other mirrors were no longer matching her movements. One version of her was crying, another was staring blankly into space. One was smiling a cruel, crooked grin. Panicking, Evelyn tried to leave, but the door was locked. She hadn't locked it. She turned back to the gold-framed mirror, and the version of herself inside it now looked ... different, it spoke, though Evelyn's lips did not move. "You look like her." Desperate, Evelyn searched the room and found a small drawer beneath the chair. Inside was an old diary, its cover cracked and pages yellowed. It belonged to Lillian Ainsworth. The entries were disjointed and frantic. "I should never have used the mirror for the ritual. It shows more than reflections, it shows what was lost. I see her every night, and my sister, the one I pushed. She wants out." The final page read, "The mirror doesn't reflect what is, it reflects what was stolen, what should never return." Suddenly, Evelyn noticed figures shifting behind her in the glass. Not just her, but others, faces of strangers, some weeping, some whispering, some staring directly at her. And then, a glimpse of someone else, a young girl in white, pale and silent, watching Evelyn through dozens of reflections at once. The room was alive. Evelyn remembered the diary's mention of a ritual and turned to the oval mirror again. The reflection inside no longer looked human. It was twisted, dark, a version of her wrapped in shadow. It whispered again, "Let me out." "I am not you," Evelyn said, voice trembling. "I will not be trapped." As she spoke, the gold-framed mirror began to crack. A deep fracture split it down the middle, and a terrible, inhuman scream filled the room. The mirrors around her shuddered and flashed. Then, the door burst open, and light flooded in. Evelyn collapsed, unconscious. She awoke the next morning in the hallway. Howard stood above her, pale and shaken. "It's over," he said softly. "The room is quiet." Evelyn didn't speak. She left that same day and sold the house within a month. But something followed her. In her small London apartment, her mirrors sometimes behave ... Oddly, her reflection smiles when she does not. Occasionally, she sees a figure move behind her, though no one is there. And sometimes, when the night is still, she hears the voice again. "You look like her."